The final sequence of Raiders of the Lost Ark is one of the most discussed effects scenes in modern cinema. When the Ark of the Covenant is opened, light pours out, angelic figures appear, and the antagonists look on in awe. Moments later, those figures transform into skulls, and the characters' faces begin to collapse, melt, and disintegrate. These effects were achieved entirely using practical techniques. No computer-generated imagery was used. Director Steven Spielberg wanted the Ark's power to feel biblical rather than technological. The destruction needed to appear as divine judgment, not as a conventional action or science fiction effect.
Bellick's head blows up, Dietrich's head shrinks, and Tote's head melts, right down to the skull. And so, I said, fine, how are we going to do this? I had no idea.
This required the physical destruction of human faces on screen, shown in close-up and photographed in camera.
When it was brought to me and said, let's do the melting bit on it, I kind of said, okay, there's got to be a way to do that. I'd never done it before.
To achieve this, the effects team at Industrial Light and Magic created life-size sculpted replica heads that closely matched the actors' likenesses. These heads were constructed primarily from gelatin, with additional wax and latex components. Gelatin was selected because it responds to heat in a way that closely resembles the softening and sagging of human tissue. The heads were not static props. They were engineered to deform gradually rather than collapse immediately.
What I developed was a formula for the gelatin so that it was extremely delicate. It melted at a very low temperature.
Internal mechanics inside the sculpted heads were air bladders and tubing designed to subtly alter facial structure during filming. Internal supports were used to slow the breakdown and control the progression of the melt. This allowed the face to lose its shape in stages, rather than disintegrating all at once. The objective was to show a gradual failure of form, not an explosive effect.
The way it worked was that I painted in very thin layers of gelatin every step of the way, each one a little bit different color, and as I did so, I would layer in veins. Some veins were made out of literally colored yarn soaked in gelatin, so that there was stuff that would be dripping off and falling off as it happened.
The melting effect was triggered using high-intensity heat lamps placed just outside the camera frame. No chemicals or post-production animation were involved. As filming continued, the heat caused the gelatin to soften and liquefy. Gravity then caused the facial features to sag, collapse, and slide downward. What appears on screen is the actual physical breakdown of the sculpted head. The shot was filmed slightly undercranked, meaning it was recorded at fewer frames per second than standard speed. When played back at normal speed, this causes the melting to appear faster and more aggressive than it occurred in real time.
It's always a release of tension when the villain gets his just desserts. Playing a villain, knowing that you're going to get your just desserts, in a way gives you more confidence to play in depth, because you haven't got the problem of persuading people, like a hero has, that you're a good guy or anything. Everyone knows you're a bad guy, so you can go much further into it.
This technique intensified the effect without altering the physical process. The melting head footage was intercut with close-ups of the real actor's performance and reaction shots of other characters. Lighting effects, smoke, and sound design were added to unify the sequence. This editing approach allows the audience to perceive the real actor and the melting replica as the same continuous event.
It's grotesque and it's hideous to think about it, but once it's in the mind, it'll never leave.
Even though Richard Edlund led the FX work, one of the key artists involved in the practical effects work was Chris Wallace. Wallace was part of the team responsible for constructing and executing the facial destruction effects. His specialty was transformation and degradation makeup that relied on real materials breaking down on camera. This approach would later define his career.
I cannot begin to tell you how many phone calls I got about that effect. Not just people who really appreciate it or fans or whatever, but a lot of other makeup men, because everybody wanted to melt a head somewhere. And they went, so how did you do it? What was the formula? And I'm like, I should have just published it somewhere,
Following Raiders of the Lost Ark, Chris Wallace went on to lead the effects for several major films. His most significant work was On the Fly, where he designed and executed the progressive transformation of Jeff Goldblum's character. The effects were achieved entirely with practical makeup stages, showing physical deterioration over time. Wallace won the Academy Award for Best Makeup for this film. He also worked on creature effects for Gremlins, and later directed and supervised effects for Arachnophobia. Across these projects, Wallace consistently relied on real materials, physical processes, and in-camera results. The melting face sequence remains effective because it obeys real-world physics. The materials melt unevenly. Gravity acts unpredictably. The breakdown is asymmetrical and irreversible. These qualities are difficult to replicate digitally, even with modern technology. The audience is not watching an abstract effect. They are watching a physical object fail to maintain human form. Despite its intensity, the sequence is brief. Spielberg avoids lingering on the destruction and does not escalate the violence beyond what is necessary. The scene's impact comes from realism rather than excess. At the time of release, the film retained a PG rating. Scenes like this later contributed to the creation of the PG-13 in the US classification system.
And I was amazed, especially at the melting head. I thought that was one of the most amazing effects I'd ever seen. And I love as the hat no longer fits him, but comes lower and lower and lower as the face drops away. It's pretty gory, pretty gross, but I love that effect.